Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It Fab. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Please press the like button and all that good stuff. So, guys, we're gonna get right into it. Yeah. So let me explain this. Okay. I've had a long day, um, a long week. Like literally, I was speaking to someone earlier and I really thought today was like Wednesday. Like that's how long the week has been. But so yeah, so last night I went to bed like about like 1:30 in the morning just working on this book called Booked, Busy and Broke. Don't forget to pre-order your copy at www.letstalkaboutitfab.com. It's dropping December 1st. So please pre-order, support your girl, and I'd appreciate that. But bring it back. So I was working on that project last night, up until 1 a.m. and then I'm up by 6:30. All right, 7:30. I woke up at 7:30. So I was rushing out of bed trying to get the kids ready for school, get their school bus. And then once they leave, I'm back at it. I'm in the office, zoned out, locked myself in. I'm podcasting. I'm doing my affirmations. I'm listening to positive music. Um, all that good stuff. And I do that till about 3 o'clock, and then go cook dinner. And then like about like 5:30, that's when everything just like passes by in a flash. I can't even understand what's really happening. But I am in like three different towns for three different kids that are part of three different competitive sports. So it's just like, what is going on? Then we get home, it's like 8:30, everyone showers, trying to get them to bed. They can have a snack. No, they don't want a snack. They want dinner. So here I am, warming up more food. Guys, it's a long day. When I kid you not, when I say that I went upstairs and I I changed my clothes because I'm realizing like I can't show up like this, right? And then show up like what I had on earlier, of course. And I started putting on concealer, trying to put a full face of makeup, and I was just like, stop. Fab, stop. You're a mom. I said to myself, you're a mom, you're an entrepreneur, you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're doing all these things. I'm sure the audience is not going to judge you for showing up as you tonight. And I had to think about it, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just show up as me. Like, look at this, like ponytail, messy ponytail, um, semi fresh face. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna show up as me. I'm really, really, really just gonna show up as me tonight. Um, and you know what? Coming from someone who's always had to show up or felt she had to show up perfect, pristine, not a strand of hair out of place. That was me. That's how I grew up. Always putting on a mask, always pretending that everything is okay. Oh, I got it under control. I don't need your help. I would say that it wasn't until my divorce when I started my healing process. I got on my healing journey, which you'll read about in my book Busy and Broke, dropping December 1st. All right, that's the last time I'll bring that up. That I begin to realize that, Fab, you've got to do better. You have absolutely got to do better. The world deserves to see, the world deserves to meet the real you. Authentic, raw, pure you. And so that's when I started this whole healing journey. And like I said before, it was a process. It was a process. I learned a lot, which is what, you know, led to all of this podcasting. But the main thing, there were two things, but the main one was the one that really is the one I really hone into right now. Like every day I wake up and I breathe EI. I think between EI and setting boundaries were the two things that kind of like set my life on fire. Like that's when I really became fab. That's when I really became me. But it took a lot of self reflecting. It took a lot of work. It took hitting rock bottom for me to finally realize all of this. Emotional intelligence is one of my best tools that I like to use these days, basically in every aspect of my life. And what is EI? EI is simply put, it is the management of your own emotions and the understanding of the emotions of the people around you. That's all it is. I mean, you can Google it. There's a whole bunch of other different meanings. They go more into depth about the 5 pillars of emotional intelligence. I put the framework on my Let's Talk About It Fab Instagram, so you can find that there. But I really want to talk about tonight the importance that EI plays in relationships, guys. So that after a breakup, after a divorce, after a long-term relationship, you go through this process. Hopefully, you go through this time period of just like isolation, where you really sit down, right? And you think about what happened, where you went wrong, where the other person went wrong, and what you could have done differently. And you really start to break the relationship down. Only a person who has emotional intelligence does this. I repeat, only people who have emotional intelligence do this. Because usually what would happen is we don't want to deal with our feelings. We don't want to take accountability. We don't want to deal with the role that we played in the relationship, whether good or bad. And we just start dating other people. We just jump into another relationship. We just, self-medicate, whatever, right? The whole point is that we're not regulating those emotions. We're not understanding them. We're not breaking them down. And to me, like, how are you going to move on to someone else with baggage left over from, unsettled situations in another relationship? And granted, there are some relationships that there is no closure. There is no calling them back. There is nothing like that. Like the Finessers Club has said, F them pretty much, right? Just, it's dead. But I really do believe that people with EI really, really love to take the time out to really assess what happened in the relationship. Like what did I do wrong? Like what went wrong? So on and so forth. And that's what I really want to talk about tonight, because gosh, like after my divorce, I went on a few dates, right? And then, it all starts here because I'm labeled as an empath. There you have it. Fabiola Scarborough is an empath. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I love hard. I play hard. I work hard. I am energetic. I'm enthusiastic. I am detail oriented. I am in. Like when I am in and I'm all in. And I realized that I'm just going to say it. Jumping back into the dating scene, it's been kind of like, I realized that I've been attracting a certain kind, a certain type of men. Now, with that being said, I'm not labeling anything good or bad, nothing like that. This is not a boyfriend, ex-boyfriend bashing type of thing. We're not doing that. But it is a time of reflection, right? Where you kind of like, okay, I've been on this date. Okay, I've been on that date. All right, I've been here, I've been there. You got to take some time out and be like, okay, so why do I keep attracting this certain caliber of men? When I really broke it down, I realized that there is a certain level of emotional intelligence that a lot of us do not have, male or female, right? And let me say this because I saw this on another podcast on Instagram. We all say we're healed, 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 healed. We're healed, healed, healed. I'm over it. I'm healed. I don't think you know you're healed until you're faced with what you've been healing from or you thought you healed from. Because I thought I was healed from a lot of things until I was face to face with what I thought I was healed from. And then, you get into these, situationships and you're just like, how did I get here? I thought I was emotionally intelligent. I thought I had this under control. I thought I had boundaries. So I say all that to say that like you're not gonna wake up one day and like boom, I have all the emotional intelligence tools that I need. I have my boundaries. I'm ready to go. I really believe that it's a life process. It is a constant work in progress. Like you're constantly under construction. Um, yeah, that's what I've come to realize. So, in saying that, I met some really nice gentlemen, and even friendships like this completely applies to all types of relationships. Those at the workplace with coworkers, friends, parents, any type of relationship. I believe that we need to assess the past, what happened with others before we can really forge really a substantial relationship with anyone else in the future. But we're talking about relationships, right? Because we're talking about dating and we're talking about marriage and we're talking about divorce. So we're going to keep it here under that umbrella. So with that being said, I realized that I was attracting a certain type of men and I was getting a certain type of response on a consistent basis. So, at some point you have to stop and be like, what am I doing? What am I doing that's attracting these guys? On what frequency am I vibrating at that's alluring to these guys? Like that, like they're attracted to me and I'm attracted to them. So I don't remember where I read this, but I know as empaths, we have this deep desire to want to save someone, to want to help someone. I don't know why, but that's one thing that I know I read about being an empath. And I was just like, you know what? You're right. So if you're the type of person that looks like you're always trying to save someone, you are going to attract people that need saving. And it wasn't until like I said, it wasn't until I really, really, really sat down with myself that I was like, look, we gotta switch this up. We gotta vibrate higher. We gotta be on a much higher frequency in order to attract a different type of whatever, right? Um guys, help me out here. Um and so I kind of want to go through some of the characteristics of what low emotional intelligence looks like versus what high or positive um, emotional intelligent person looks like. And now it's important for me because I feel like as women, sometimes and this goes for men and women, sometimes we find ourselves in situationships that we shouldn't have been in the first place. And even if we find ourselves in those situations, because again, us empaths, we want to give people chances and chances and chances, right? So one of our boundaries is I meet someone, we have a 3-month gap, a window where I'm willing to figure it out, right? I'm willing to figure it out. Then I have a 6-month window if I really like you and I'm really trying to figure things out. But after that, Like, I'm done. I'm done. You know, you got to have boundaries, especially as an empath. You have to have boundaries. But like I said before, I noticed these patterns. I really, really noticed these patterns. And like I said, first, I had to self regulate. You know, like I said, you had to create boundaries. You had to, first be aware of your emotions, right? When you meet someone, why does it feel like it's like you're riding on cloud nine? Why do you feel like, oh my God, this is the best thing that's happened to me since blah, 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 right? Why do you get so emotionally attached, so emotionally involved, right? Why do you feel like, you meet someone, even though you have a gazillion things going on, but you meet someone and you're willing to stop, postpone, push back, delay your whole entire world to focus on that person and to help them. That was me. Guilty. So I set in place some boundaries, right? Um, I set in place some time frames in which I will, work to see how things go. And I had to set some boundaries. So that has helped a lot. But it still doesn't negate the fact that, like I said before, we have to really go into our childhood to see into some of the things that happened to us or we witnessed or whatever the case may be, but we're bringing them into the relationships we're forging now as adults. And I think that that's something to really take a very microscopic look at, because we're ruining ourselves out here. Okay, so with that being said, so here's some characteristics of a person with low emotional intelligence. They're aggressive, demanding, sometimes egotistical, bossy, and confrontational. I have witnessed this before in some people. And again, I'm not talking about just like, you know, loving relational relationships. I'm talking about across the board, coworkers, friends, so on and so forth. And I I had to stop to really think about, like, why are these people so angry? Like, why are they so demanding, egotistical, bossy, confrontational? It's because, they have all these built up emotions that they don't really quite know how to express, right? Or to get out or to talk about. I mean, man, there's so many emotionally unavailable people out here. And I used to be one of them. But it's scary. Like, it's scary. It's scary. Here are some more characteristics, right, of someone with low EI. Their resistance to change, passive, unresponsive, selfish, impulsive, critical, picky, fussy, you know. And these are some things that I know that, like, they showed up in my relationships, and I was just like, why am I attracting these kind of people? Like, what am I doing? Like, Fab, what's going on? Because I tend to think of myself with someone with high EI. And here are some characteristics of that. You're assertive, you're ambitious, you're driven, you're strong-willed, you're decisive, enthusiastic, sociable, persuasive, patient, stable, predictable, consistent, detail-oriented, careful, meticulous, and neat. And so I'm like, if I have all of these characteristics, right? Someone meeting me should, wow, she's amazing. Like, I have never met anyone like her before. Wow. But that's not what I'm confronted with out there. And maybe you guys can kind of tell me, hone in and tell me if you've like witnessed the same things. No, I'm not confronted with that. I'm confronted with jealousy sometimes. I'm confronted with aggression, because someone like me who's assertive and strong-willed and driven, I'm never gonna meet someone And I'm never going to leave them where they're at. I'm always going to try to pull you into where I am. This world of positiveness and detail oriented and being assertive and positive. I'm always going to pull you where I am. But I realize that some people just, they don't like that and they don't want that. And so I say this to you tonight that I think I finally realized how important emotional intelligence is, or the role it plays rather, in relationships. I feel like no matter what, we have to have these conversations. If you're going to have any type of successful relationship, meaningful relationship, right? We're going to have these tough conversations. Like, for real, for real. And it goes the same for married couples, because I came from a very strong Christian background where you've seen people married for 20, 30, 40, 50, like longevity, like they've been married for a while. However, they don't really seem happy. I mean, I don't know how else to put this, but like I think we have got to have the conversation, and I feel like it's never too late to start working on your emotional intelligence. I feel like you're never too young to start building that emotional intelligence. Like, for instance, with my children, something that wasn't encouraged in the Haitian household, the Christian Haitian household, the BOC Christian Haitian household, um, expressing yourself. It just wasn't encouraged. It just, you do as you're told and you stay quiet. That's it. You know, but my kids now, because I'm raising them differently, I'm raising them to be emotionally intelligent, healthy adults. And therefore, you know, I allow them to speak to me openly and freely, not disrespectfully, but openly and freely, you know, um, because I want them to understand that they are their own individual person outside of me. I gave birth to them, right? I brought them into the world, but I don't control them. I don't I don't want to impose myself in them. I need and I want to give them room to grow and to develop to be who they are. You know, like my 6 year old, my 6 year old Riley, she is rambunctious. She is in your face. She is no holds bar. She is telling you, she's giving it to you just the way it is. And you know, from my culture and the way I was raised, it'd be like, hey, sit down, be quiet. You don't speak like that. Hush, hush, hush. Where I kind of let her kind of thrive in that, because I'm like, okay, we're going to use that and we're going to put that to use. You like to be assertive. You like to be, you know, you like to be in the front of the line. You like to be in control. You want to be a leader. Then look, we're going to start teaching you some leadership skills. We are going to teach you how to use that, because that's their personality, you know? And so I don't think it's ever too young to talk to kids about their emotional intelligence and allow them to grow into who they were meant to be. Same thing for marriages. I don't think it's ever too late to sit down with your spouse and talk about emotional intelligence, building that up, talking about your emotions to one another. Because I feel like there's a lot of people out here who are just so emotionally unavailable. And when you're emotionally unavailable, it's like you put up a wall. And it's kind of like a wall that like no one can really penetrate, because you yourself are not emotionally available to talk about your feelings and how you process your feelings, you know? And I feel like within our culture, within the Black community and our culture, I feel like that's a big piece. That's a really big piece of it. And if we took the time out to really, really look into that, we'd see better relationships, longer lasting relationships. Like earlier today, I was watching the episode of Harley Initiated podcast. Guys, can't wait to be on your show one day. Putting that out there, manifesting that. But these guys are really, really, they're sparking up the conversation. They're sparking up the much needed conversation. And they had this gentleman that was talking, he wrote a book called The Masculine in the Relationship. And man, like everyone needs to pick up that book. I haven't read it yet, but the things like the inserts that he was reading, I was just like, man, like there's just some things that we don't know. Like for instance, right? I know one thing about me. I thrived in my masculine. Man, like I thrived in my masculine. It was just like I'm independent, Black woman. I'm strong. I don't need a man. I don't need him to pay my bills. I don't need him to do this. I don't need him to do that. I mean, I like even instances, even now, it's hard for me. Like I get out of a car, right? If I'm on a date and we're headed towards like the door to the restaurant or whatever, I will literally, with a whole man beside me, I will literally reach my hand out to go open up my own door. And that's just how much in my masculine I used to be in. And I had to really, with an emotional intelligence, I had to really sit down and understand that no, like women, we gotta get into this soft life. Seriously. And I get it. I get it. We're raising children on our own. We're doing all of this stuff on our own. We're paying our bills on our own. You know, it's hard. You have to kind of be in your masculine in order to even get those things done. However, I don't think that that's the end all be all. That's not the goal. The goal is to meet a good man that's going to allow us to live this soft life. However, he has to be in his masculine. He just has to be in his masculine. Again, these are things that I didn't know, I didn't discover till lately. And I even needed the emotional intelligence to even allow me to even welcome that into my life. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack on this. There's layers and layers and layers to it. But yes, I hope that this opens up a conversation for those of you who are already dating and dating someone, or those of you who are single, those of you who've been married, even those of you who've been divorced. Like, if you have children, you have to still communicate, right? There's even emotional intelligence applied in that. Like, you know, I am divorced, and it's crazy because, and we talk about this all the time. I'm like, yo, like, our relationship is so much better now. I don't know if it's because of the internal work that we've done separately after our divorce, or definitely EI has helped, and EI tools have helped. But we have such a great relationship right now for our children's sake, because my motto is I never want, the divorce was enough already, but I never want to be the reason that my children have to, I never want to do anything to my children that they're going to have to recover from later on as adults. Does that make sense? Their father and I are divorced. That's enough. It's enough that they're not seeing us living under the same roof. It's enough that they know that we're not together. It's enough. What they are going to see are two parents that love them, that cherish them, that will do anything for them, that when it's time to come together for them, we come together, we celebrate them, we take the good, bad, and the ugly, You know, the divorce was enough. Nothing else after that has to occur where it's to the point that they have to like, recover from this as they get older. So we have a very good friendship, surprisingly so. We have a very, very good friendship. And I thank God for that, because that's not just him and I, that's God. Okay. Um, but again, like, just to go back to things, like, guys, emotional intelligence is extremely important, guys. We gotta do the work. We gotta sit down like one weekend, like, no partying, no clubbing, no hanging out. Like, we gotta sit down with ourselves and just be like, yo, who am I? What do I want in life? Why do I get this type of reaction every time I do this? Um, Cause and effect. Like, you gotta sit down with yourself and really, 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 really look at yourself. Even go look at yourself in the mirror and really be like, I gotta do something different. Like, this is not working out. And yeah, we gotta do the work, guys. If we're gonna have, yeah, we gotta do the work. And I'm so happy because I have like a whole chapter, at least 10 pages on a blueprint that I worked on, that I put myself through, both emotionally and physically. Um, so, again, it's another incentive to get my book. I really feel like that's my purpose in life, is to really take all the things that I have learned throughout the years, um, and really kind of compile a list, stuff it in a book, and share it with you guys. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am totally filming this Thursday night at like 11:30 p.m. and this will air on Friday, October 28th at 10 a.m. Guys, thank you so much for allowing me to show up as me today. Yeah. Messy ponytail and all. I appreciate that. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Bye.